magic of the Sunstone. You're tuned into the Jewel Riders Archive.
Hey Jewel fans, this is Chris from the Jewel Riders Archive. I'm here today to have a fun discussion with two of my favorite people. I have Stormy.
Hello!
A former web mistress of the Avalon website and grand dame of the Jewel Riders fandom. And I also have with us for the first time on the podcast, I have Alex, the artist and writer behind Paper Doll Prince.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. Glad to have you both here.
Thank you.
So the genesis of this episode really comes from Stormy's old website. There was a section on the website where she basically talked about, if you liked Jewel Riders, try this, basically. And a lot of it was anime and, you know, magical girl anime from the 90s and that era. But I also thought, what a great idea for Western cartoons as well. So there's been a lot of magical girl cartoons over the years, and I wanted to break down a few of them to basically tell Jewel Riders fans, hey, you might like this, and here's why. So on this first of our two-part series, we'll be covering the shows from the 80s. And in this episode, we're going to feature 6 shows: My Little Pony, Rainbow Brite, She-Ra, Princess of Power, Gem and the Holograms, Wildfire, and Lady Lovely Locks. All right, so why don't we get started with My Little Pony, the 1984 show from Hasbro, based on the 1982 toy line of the same name. Now, Stormy, why don't you tell me your history with My Little Pony?
My Little Pony is almost as old as me. I had the toys when I was little.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch much of the show. My main memory is of the movie with the schmooze. And I don't know if that was just My Little Pony the movie or if it was the movie of the schmooze. But I have clear memories of that. I remember the schmooze was very scary because I was like 5 years old.
Okay.
And it's like, you know, beware of the blob, it creeps and leaps. And the schmooze was very scary to my tiny kid brain. But seeing it again older with friends, I thought the villains were interesting, the two witches who make the schmooze.
Alex, you've mentioned your love for the My Little Pony movie to me as well before. Talk a little bit about that. I know you mentioned the witches as being a standout.
Oh, yeah. I thought they were amazing villains in that movie. I really enjoyed Hydia and how she wouldn't let her own daughters call her mother. She always made them call her Hydia, and it was really quite funny. I really liked Baby Lickety Split in that movie. I thought she was super cute, and her little rainbow dance outfit that's like got the 80s sweatbands on. It's like adorable at the beginning opening scene, and she's a little bit bratty, but you know, it was a very sweet way to open the movie with her kind of trying to outstage everybody at their performance.
I have sadly not seen this movie, but I did just order it today.
Oh, you need to watch it.
So maybe before the next episode, I will watch that and have my report on the My Little Pony, the movie.
The witches, I think the mom witch, she threatens her daughters with, I'm going to make you eat ice cream.
Yes, she does.
Bad. So, like, good things like ice cream are bad to them.
Oh, my gosh.
I remember there was a joke where she compared her daughters to another witch's daughters, and she said that her daughters made Easter Sunday happen on a Tuesday.
Oh, my gosh.
And she was disappointed her daughters can't come up with anything so evil.
That is adorable.
This movie has fun villains.
Yes, it really does. They cram a lot into the time of the movie, too. There's so many characters in it.
I know it's always been a little bit of a hard point for me with watching the old My Little Pony stuff, because I have a hard time knowing which character is which.
For sure.
They're just not quite as, like, laid out, and they don't always seem to have quite the same personality as some of the later iterations of My Little Pony. But it's like, someday I'll remember all the names. I watched for this podcast, I watched the pilot special Rescue at Midnight Castle. It was the first time I'd ever watched it, and it is dark.
Really? I don't know that I've ever seen it. What happens in it?
So, it's got this villain named Tirek, who's trying to capture the ponies to transform them into dragons to pull his carriage of the night, basically, to bring eternal darkness to the Ponyland. And it's got, threats against ponies' lives. Like,
oh wow.
They're like, at one point, I think Tirek threatens that he might behead Spike, the little dragon. And then in this interlude, I laughed out loud because there's a point where they get thrown into a river and get saved in a musical number that's super cheerful from the Sea Ponies going shooby-doo.
That's so cute.
And I was like, wait a minute. This was so dark. No.
I do think that there were quite a bit of moments like that in the movie as well. Like, it's like getting swallowed up by the smooth. You're basically drowning.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Did either of you ever own My Little Pony toys as children?
I have a bunch. I have them still. I have lots of ponies. I have, one of the barns, but it's missing most of its pieces.
Oh.
I think I have even the two girls. Megan and Molly, were those their names?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Oh, they actually made dolls of the live action girls?
They did.
Or the live human girls.
Yeah.
Not live action.
Non-ponies.
Yeah, they're really cute little dolls, actually. When I got to go to HasCon, they had an entire retrospective for My Little Pony, and they had all the toys that they produced in these cases, and you could kind of go through and see all of them.
Oh, they had every single toy.
I don't know if it was every single toy, but they had a ton of them and they had them labeled by the year that they produced them, and then they had production art on the wall, framed.
That would be really fantastic.
Beautiful. Yeah, and
you can't see us podcast listeners, but we look really jealous right now. We want to go to this thing.
And I did have some of the toys growing up. I remember I had a Firefly, and I think I had I think it was a Lickety Split. I did have them, and I always wanted the Megan and the Molly, but I did never get them.
Oh. I know, Stormy, you helped me get a Minty not too long ago.
Oh, did I?
She's so cute. Minty is my favorite of the vintage ponies.
Oh.
And I think I also picked up... They've done these really nice reproduction ponies in the last couple of years.
I've seen those.
I've seen them in Target and so forth. And I did pick up, I think it was Moon Dancer and Sunbeam because of Jewel Riders. They reminded me.
The reproduction toys are so cute.
They are. They have the cutest little boxes. I was like, I can't bear to take them out. I think we may... Should we talk about Friendship is Magic a little bit now, or should we talk about it maybe on the next episode?
Either one. I've seen... It's a damn good show, but I haven't seen a whole lot of it.
Yeah. I've seen the first 3 seasons, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I have... Just this year, I finished the 9th season, and I was like, how has this been going for 9 seasons? It's probably one of those things I would have never watched if I had gone to it all at the end, because it's just too much.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when they made Equestria Girls. I was living in Vancouver at the time, and since it was animated there, when it came out, I went out on like opening day, and a lot of the Vancouver animators were there in the audience, and it was quite fun to see their reactions to their art being up on the screen.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was really fun. Everybody in the audience like was having a good time, and honestly it wasn't super packed because it was like the middle of the day when it kind of came out.
Okay.
So
I know I do love Friendship is Magic. It was my gateway into My Little Pony as a franchise, really. So I have a soft spot for it for that, for sure. And I do think they're sort of fun and over the top. I do love Rarity.
yes, Rarity's amazing.
And I have all 6 of those dolls that Integrity Toys made.
Do you?
Yeah, of the ponies as humans, and like I think 4 of them are boys, actually. Or inspired by each pony, I should say.
Oh.
They're really cute.
Yeah, isn't Pinkie Pie one of the boy dolls?
Pinkie Pie, Rarity, Rainbow Dash, and I think Applejack, now that I think about it.
Wow.
They're such an odd little piece of collectible from My Little Pony.
Definitely.
But they're really fun.
Interesting. Species flipped and gender flipped.
Yep.
I'm just looking at them. The Pinkie Pie one's so cute.
I know.
And the Rarity one is so dapper.
I know. I like the Fluttershy. Looks like she's going to, like, Coachella.
Oh, that's so true.
She's got her flower crown.
Honestly, the only one that looks like their character to me is Twilight.
Yes.
The rest of them don't look like their character as much, but I like them.
Yeah. Otherwise, they look like gem dolls to me. Almost.
They do, yeah. Especially Rarity.
Oh, you're right. Looks like a dapper Rio almost.
Yeah.
So, Alex, as somebody who likes My Little Pony, the vintage, I should say specifically, what do you think Jewel Riders fans could enjoy checking it out?
I mean, I think both of them, the newer My Little Pony and the vintage one, do a good job of making friendship kind of a central theme.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that goes into Jewel Riders pretty well, too.
Okay.
Because, I mean, it's always about the relationship dynamic between the 3 girls in Jewel Riders.
Yes.
So I think classic My Little Pony and Friendship is Magic both do a good job about making it about the character-centric relationships.
Okay, I like that, definitely. And I'm so looking forward to seeing the movie now.
Definitely.
To get a little better feel of that than probably just the pilot special.
Yeah, I think you'll like the movie a lot. It's quite sweet. There's a sweetness to it that it captures that I think that the new one did have some of, but the old one just has a very extreme sugary sweetness to it.
Okay. Okay, well, we're just getting some final thoughts on My Little Pony for Jewel Riders fans as to why they might like it.
I like Princess Luna. That's my declaration. Well, we have Sun and Moon. Uniforms,
yeah.
Which I'm sure you already said.
I mean, yeah, definitely for Friendship is Magic, the 3 main princesses are a Sun Princess, a Moon Princess, and Cadence is a Heart Princess.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a little connection there. I was like, wait a minute. So that was always kind of fun to me. But yeah, I mean, I think especially if you like things with unicorns, if you like things with, any horse-centric element of Jewel Riders, I think you will like My Little Pony. And if you like watching, the baby animals' antics and things like that, I think that My Little Pony is a really fun, basically expansion on that.
Definitely.
And also, if you like colorful horses.
Yes, beautiful colors to make your eyeballs happy.
Yes. I do always smile every time I see a big bunch of ponies together in a shot because they're so pretty. Well, let's move on to our second show from 1984. We have Rainbow Brite. This was created by Hallmark when Hallmark, as with several, like another greeting card company, were getting into the licensing business of creating characters that they could use not only on greeting cards, but on, lunchboxes and dolls and any product you can possibly imagine. Rainbow Brite had a 13-episode run with one movie, The Star Stealer. And tell me a little bit, Alex, did you watch this ever as a child, or?
Oh, Rainbow Brite was a favorite of mine.
Okay. Tell me more.
Well, I mean, I really enjoyed Rainbow Brite because even though it was, it was animated in Japan, I believe, but
I believe so.
Yeah, but it was a Western written story, but it did kind of have more of like an anime feel to it at times.
I could definitely tell that when I watched the 2 episodes I watched for the podcast.
Yeah, and I mean the very first episode, Wisp is sent to Earth and she gets into all sorts of danger, and the whole world that she's sent to is, I guess it's not Earth, it's Rainbow Land she's sent to, but it's pre-Rainbow Land. So it's dark and scary and filled with monsters, and she's tasked by a unknown voice with kind of restoring this land, and it's just very cute and adorable in that first episode, but also a little bit dark and mysterious.
So you're talking about the beginning of Rainbow Land parts 1 and 2.
Yes.
Right? Okay, yeah, that's what I watched as well. And I was again surprised by the darkness of an 80s cartoon.
Yes.
Like she fights off all of these crazy monsters, and and you can tell it's like very anime 80s designs for those monsters. Was kind of the first thing that tipped me off. I was like, if this was all made in the West, I don't think they would have ever designed a monster to look that scary.
No, definitely. And I mean, I think the beginning of it is it's so interesting because it's so mysterious, and you really get a feeling that there's a lot of high stakes from the fact that she's in this dark and scary world and tasked with kind of making it bright and beautiful. Yeah.
Now, what is the villain's name again? I'm trying to remember. It's
Murky and Lurky.
Murky and Lurky, but there was like that overarching villain, like, oh my gosh.
I'm trying to remember his name as well.
I just remember Murky and Lurky also.
Yeah.
And there was the princess from the movie.
The King of Shadows.
Oh, yes.
That's who he was. He was scary.
Yes, definitely.
Like, he looked like a Dementor from Harry Potter.
Or like a Nazgul from The Lord of the Rings.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, I love her horse Starlight.
Oh yes.
He knows he's the best, and he is not afraid to tell you.
A very majestic
rainbow horse.
Yes.
Yes.
Stormy, what about you? What was your childhood with Rainbow Brite?
I don't know that I watched the beginning of Rainbow Land episodes, but I don't think I watched any other parts of the show, but I really, really liked the Star Stealer movie. I thought it was great, and I don't entirely remember why, because it was so long ago, And when I looked it up on YouTube, it's not on YouTube, and I was sad. So I want to find a DVD or find however you watch it these days, because I'd like to watch it again. I remember the diamonds was a really cool idea. It was the diamonds that all the light in the universe passed through, and the princess was trying to steal it because it's a giant diamond, and diamonds are a girl's best friend. This is great. This is a great idea.
Yeah, I think the planet's name is Spectra.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, sadly, that was released on DVD in the early days of DVD. And, you know, when they had like a cardboard case that would have a plastic snap. And I don't think it's ever been released on DVD since.
Huh.
I'm always hopeful that somebody somewhere will release that, even a digital version.
Yeah.
But
I remember so much of this movie.
Do you really?
I do, because it was one of my favorite movies. I had it recorded on a VHS tape, and I watched it over and over and over and over.
I may have had that also, because I remember it well enough. I must have watched it a lot of times.
Yeah. It's a very, very fun story, and I mean, I remember distinctly one of the things I loved about the Dark Princess. She basically had a giant diamond on a leash with a collar around it, and she dragged it around, and I loved that. I just thought that was so funny.
It's so extra.
Yes, and I mean, all she does is scream throughout that entire movie about how she wants that diamond in the sky, Spectra, and it's just it's hilarious, and she's an amazing villain, and I love the standoff between her and Rainbow Brite, because you really do feel like Rainbow's trying her hardest with the color belt, but she's really struggling to win, and it isn't until Onyx and I forget his name, the boy.
Chris.
Yeah, Chris. So like it isn't until Chris and Onyx help her that you really feel like she's able to overpower the princess. It's so cool.
Yeah. Side note, I love Onyx.
Yes, he's great.
Like, he's such a cool, like, robot horse.
Definitely.
I think I remember his mane lights up when he speaks.
Yes.
Yes.
So cool.
For me, Rainbow Brite, my sole childhood memory of this was a read-along called Rainbow Brite and the Brook Meadow Deer.
Oh.
It's a book with a tape that tells you the story, a cassette tape. And I listened to that thing and read that story over and over and over again. And I, like, loved it. And it's like, and I never really knew beyond that how much more Rainbow Brite there really was. Because it was basically like after it had all sort of gone away from its first wave that I ended up somehow with that book and tape. So it's just sort of like, how did I miss all the rest of it till like an adult? Like, but then, you know, later on I was able to watch Star Stealer, and now I've got the DVD with the show that I'm going to start watching after I've seen the first two now. And they're so cute, and I love, you know, Hallmark has put out a lot of Rainbow Brite merchandise actually in the last couple of years, which is sort of surprising to me that, you know, here's a property that's still getting things made of it from the 80s.
I wonder if they were hoping it would come back like My Little Pony and She-Ra have come back.
Well, I think it was 2014, which I guess would have been the 30th anniversary for Rainbow Brite. They did a 3-episode mini-series of Rainbow Brite for their Hallmark-owned channel called Feelin', F-E-E-L-N. You can actually watch all 3. They're only like little 15-minute episodes. And they're very, you know, in the style of New My Little Pony in terms of their comedy and stuff like that.
I think I saw pictures from it, and I think I didn't realize they were from an actual show. I think I thought they were someone's fan thing.
They kind of look like a fan thing, unfortunately.
It definitely wasn't in the same vein as the original, and I mean, I feel like the flash animation that they had done for it just it didn't capture that original magic that the older 80s one had. But
yeah,
it was kind of cool that they got Molly Ringwald to play the Dark Princess in it, though.
Yeah, that was kind of fun. Yeah, they're all on YouTube now to watch. If you are so inclined. I've thought maybe when I'm done watching the original series, I might go back and check them out again. But they're an interesting sort of side path. And Rainbow Brite has had a number of reboots over the years, too. You know, there was a one in the 90s of her, instead of the Color Kids, it was the Color Crew, which made me laugh because it's so incredibly 90s.
Yes.
But yeah, it's really, they have made some really cute stuff of Rainbow Brite over the years, the last few years from Hallmark. I also wanted to mention, this is the first one that this comes up on, but this is the first one where they have music by Haim Saban and Shuki Levy.
Huh.
So Stormy, you'll recognize Saban, of course, as Power Rangers and Tenko.
And the Sailor Moon we never got.
Yes, and the Saban Moon of our dreams.
Yep.
But it's these two show up on a number of different things for doing the music for these 80s cartoons.
Which music did they do?
I believe they did the series music and the opening song.
Okay. Did they have a hand in the movie songs?
That I don't know.
I'm curious because I did like a lot of the songs from the movie.
Yeah, it actually says it is It is from, according to IMDb, it does have them listed as doing the music for those movies, for the movie as well.
Yeah, I mean, that movie's so cute how Starlight opens by singing about it being spring.
Oh.
Such a cute opening scene.
Yeah.
And Starlight's very extra.
Yes. I think that's like a defining feature of Starlight is how extra he is.
I do appreciate in the movie as well that it had Sky Dancer and Stormy.
Yes. They're such cute characters.
Definitely. I think it's a really cute scene when Rainbow's trying to get her to stop making it rain and storm everywhere.
Is Stormy the true hero of our time? So in terms of why Jewel Riders fans should watch, Alex, what do you think is a draw here for Rainbow Brite to Jewel Riders fans?
Well, I mean, it does have talking horses, which seems to be a common thread here. I think that for Rainbow Brite, if you like any of the horses from Jewel Riders, you're going to like Starlight. Like, it's just a given. You'll probably like Onyx as well if you watch the movie. Onyx is very robotic, obviously, but I still think people will enjoy his banter with the other characters and how robotic and just like mission oriented he is. I think obviously the magic and the animation are really beautiful in Rainbow Brite in particular. In the movie, it is just stunning to behold even now. So if you're an animation fan in general, you're going to love it.
Yeah. Definitely that beautiful 80s Japanese produced animation.
Yeah, and the music. The music's another piece that I think Jewel Riders fans would really like.
Okay, nice. Stormy, how about you? What do you think Jewel Riders fans can find in Rainbow Brite?
Well, the sweetness of the older cartoons and the power of friendship. She's got all of the colors of the Color Kids and her horse and her little white puffball that I forgot its name, but she had a little white puffball.
Twink.
Yeah.
Twink.
So the power of friendship continues through the ages.
I second all of those, and I also want to add, if you want to find another diva-esque villain, you will enjoy the Dark Princess, just like Kale.
That's so true. They're quite similar in that way. They're very over the top and kind of screamy and yelly.
Yes. Okay, we're going to move into 1985 and talk a little bit about She-Ra, Princess of Power. This was created by Lou Scheimer in the Filmation Studios. It was originally pitched by Filmation to Mattel after all of their success with producing the He-Man cartoon and how big of a hit that was. And Filmation basically saw a potential to expand that brand into She-Ra. And so they created I think it's 93 episodes of that series. So about 10 years ago, I watched this whole series as I was studying for a board examination. It was like the thing I would watch when I was done studying for the day to take a break. So I have like really good memories of She-Ra being really relaxing. But for this, I rewatched the original 5 episodes, The Secret of the Sword, which is the opening to She-Ra, and it shows, how she gets her sword and becomes She-Ra, and how He-Man plays into that. And it was really enjoyable. I have to say, I watched it with the audio commentary track this time, which I'd never watched before, that had Lou Scheimer, the head of Filmation, on there. The lady who directed the episodes, the guy who voices Skeletor, Alan Oppenheimer, and one of the writers, Larry DiTilio. And it was just so fun to listen to them talk about She-Ra and how she came to be and why she came to be. And they really talked about how there was a real vacancy in kind of, girl-focused properties for an action fashion heroine. And, I think maybe that's arguable with things that have come before, like My Little Pony and Rainbow Brite. But I do think She-Ra is kind of one of a kind, for her time. Maybe the only thing before her was, Wonder Woman. And even then, it's kind of a very different thing. So, Stormy, did you grow up watching She-Ra?
I've never seen any of the original She-Ra.
Really?
Shocking. Somehow I've watched a few He-Mans because I had a brother and he was into He-Man. I still have a brother. He's around. But,
okay.
I never watched She-Ra. It wasn't on. I had a few of the toys. I have one of the dolls, which I think turned out to be Glimmer. And after seeing the new She-Ra, I was very happy to have a doll of Glimmer.
Yes.
And I have the Crystal Waterfall toy.
Oh,
which is
the Crystal
really
Falls
beautiful.
toy.
If you look that up, I don't know if you can get one anywhere anymore, but it is a really, really pretty toy.
The old She-Ra toys had gorgeous play sets.
Yes.
Crystal Castle, Crystal Falls. I know there's a couple of vehicles, like the Sea Harp boat, and Enchanta, the big flying swan.
And the horses were pretty. The horse toys for She-Ra were
yes.
They were nice. They had the transparent horses with the transparent wings, and those were really cool.
You know, every time I go to a convention and I see She-Ra toys, I want to buy them so badly. And then I look at the price tag and I cry inside.
Yes.
Because I'm not paying $200 for an out-of-box crystal castle that's missing all the accessories.
Oh.
But just the toys are beautiful. They don't look like the show very much. Always.
Yeah, definitely.
Alex, how about you? Did you grow up with She-Ra?
Well, no, I didn't grow up with She-Ra, but I did watch quite a bit of the old She-Ra, and I was a fan, and then I did watch most of the new one.
Have you not finished the new one?
I have not.
Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, I think She-Ra has some absolutely beautiful designs. The toys are super beautiful. I like that there's like the holographic element on some of them. Like on I guess I don't know if you'd call it her face wings on the original doll that go around her face. Yeah, there's definitely. Like that holographic thing on them, and it's like really beautiful.
Yeah, the wings on her headdress.
Yes, and I do think it's kind of funny how clearly the toy designs were designed before the original show or after, potentially. I'm not sure.
I'm not 100% sure on the timeline of the design of the show versus the toys.
Either way, it's pretty clear that one of them didn't match the other.
Yes. I mean, I wonder if that's like a simultaneous design problem.
I mean, I'm looking at the toy design right now, and it looks to me like some of the elements on it would have been very difficult for hand-drawn animation to accomplish.
Yeah. I mean, She-Ra's got like a spiral design on her breastplate on the toy that I think would have been incredibly difficult to animate correctly.
Yes.
But it always makes me laugh, you know, that some of the toys are very different color-wise. Like Castaspell is all orange in the toy and blue in the show, and
the production art for the toys is really beautiful as well. It's got that perfect 80s airbrushed painting look.
Yes, I love it. Who is the artist you've told me about who worked on a lot of She-Ra art?
Oh, it's, I believe, Beverly Kirby.
Beverly Kirby, yes. Her art is incredible.
It is really beautiful.
She did a lot of the storybook art, right?
Yeah, she did.
Okay. Yeah, her stuff is fantastic. Like, if I could only have something that looks like that again.
Definitely.
There's in a lot of her stuff, maybe not always necessarily in the show, but in her stuff there's a very fairy tale quality to it, with a lot of loops and curls in the hair, and, you know, just the pastel color palettes. And
I think most of her art, if I remember correctly, it looks like it was watercolor.
Okay.
And it's really quite amazing when you really look at it, because you can kind of see some of the water fading into the background, like the watery hues. They blend really nicely at the edge of some of the details.
Okay.
And I'm looking at one right now. I just found one. She like blends blue and green for the grass, and it's really beautiful.
Oh.
I'm also looking up Beverly Kirby art. Man, she is really talented.
I know. Somebody I would really love to talk to on the podcast someday.
Yes.
Yes, get her on here.
Oh my god. I want like prints of all of these and just to make a wall of it.
Yeah, they're really gorgeous. They have almost the Tom Tierney look.
Yes, Tom Tierney. Stormy, you may know him from, he did a lot of artwork for things like Barbie and the Rockers and Gem.
Oh, uh-huh.
Back in the 80s. Oh, he has sadly since passed away.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. But go ahead.
I was just gonna say, some of the art does remind me of Wonder Woman, and the what was it?
Star Riders?
Yes, and the Star Riders.
Yes.
Some of it kind of reminds me of that, but I'm not sure the artist behind that.
I know, poor Wonder Woman and the Star Riders. I know, I'm not sure who did the toy designs. But I know there's that tiny little comic.
Yes.
That they made of it. That I don't know who drew that either.
It doesn't say on the comic, I guess.
I think it might. But I would have to dig that out and find that. I'm very curious if it does now.
Here at the Jewel Riders Archive, we go over it with a magnifying glass.
Exactly. I will need one because that comic is like the size of 2 credit cards.
Oh wow!
Together.
Didn't it come in a cereal box?
It came in a cinnamon mini buns.
Oh wow!
Which it proudly proclaims on its cover.
Oh.
I have memory of getting X-Men mini comics from like Pizza Hut or somewhere. Did anybody else know those? But that's the 90s. Wait, we have to save that for the next episode.
Yes. Okay. So I think for She-Ra, I think it's the most clear cut. Like, if you liked Jewel Riders, if you like heroines who transform, who have magical horses, and who have, friends with different powers, fighting against, red-colored villainesses. She-Ra is about as close as you can get, aside from Tenko, which we will talk about next time.
I turned on the new She-Ra, and it's like, this show, it's the same colors as my soul.
Yes. I love new She-Ra. Like, I think it's probably one of my favorite cartoons I've seen in the last few years. It's like beautifully queer, beautiful colors, good writing. Like, it is truly the show I think She-Ra deserved.
Yes, it's so good.
Not necessarily tied to He-Man. Yeah. She can stand on her own. And I love it. I
like how distinct all the characters are as well. Like, all their designs are very different from each other, and that's so nice to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's like the whole range of diversity in the show is great. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love old She-Ra where it's like magical Barbie everybody. But
yes.
But I also really appreciate the new stuff, too. I know there's always people whenever there's a reboot who are like, this is horrible. You've ruined my childhood.
They can both be good. It's allowed.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. If you want to watch the original, watch the original. It's not going anywhere. It's there. Let people who want something new enjoy it.
Totally.
But any final thoughts on She-Ra?
No, we think it's great.
Okay. Right. Our other show from 1985 is Gem and the Holograms. Now, this was created by Hasbro and screenwriter Christy Marks as a competition to Barbie. Gem is the truly outrageous 80s pop star who lives an amazing double life because she's also the record executive Jerrica Benton in her secret identity. So this is a true 80s classic. it is probably the most steeped in the 80s of any of the shows we're going to talk about today. Because it is a, quote, modern day show of the 80s. Barbie tried their darndest to kill this. They rushed out what's known as Barbie and the Rockers to compete with this. And if you watch the episode of The Toys That Made Us on Netflix, they do talk about it a little bit in the Barbie episode. How proud they were to beat Gem to market. It was very sad. But Alex, I know you're a huge Gem fan.
I love Gem and the Holograms.
Yes.
It's a fantastic show. It's basically the closest thing we're probably ever going to get in the West to an animated soap opera.
That's probably true. You have the Misfits trying to kill Gem and the Holograms at various points throughout the show in strange and unique ways.
I do appreciate that the first few episodes of it, everything has to be a cliffhanger. Like every commercial break has a cliffhanger, every ending of an episode has a cliffhanger, and it's just very much like trying to get you to not turn the TV off, is what Christy Marks said in an interview.
Yeah. I think I remember hearing her say that they were originally planned as 10 to 15 minute episodes. And that's why each segment ends on a cliffhanger.
Yes.
For those first 5. And I was like, oh, that makes so much sense now.
I believe they said that it was originally sandwiched between G.I. Joe and Transformers.
Yes, I think so.
So they were like, please don't turn the TV off. But it ended up getting its own giant fandom. So, right. I mean, I think they were quite successful.
Yes. No, don't turn off the TV. The Rockin' Roadster's about to go off of a cliff.
Exactly. And every episode has the 3 songs in it. And I just think that that's so much fun. Just showing problems in a really literal way and showing dreams and romance in a really literal way through 80s animated music videos.
Yes. I think the music videos are such a creative piece of this show.
Definitely.
The amount of crazy animation that they do in them is really awesome. And I was like, these are fantastic. Also, the music is still really good.
Yes.
And I routinely put on YouTube playlists of it.
Yeah, me too.
While I'm doing work around the house or great workout or cleaning music too. One of the things I want to talk about is how Gem feels very magical girl to me. Synergy has a total vibe of a fairy godmother or any of the magical girl sort of magical little things that, give them the ability to transform.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's I think it's the closest thing we ever got in the West to a magical idol show.
For sure.
Creamy Mommy or Fancy Lala or any of those.
Exactly. Fancy Lala is a good show.
Oh, it's such a good show. I'm so glad you agree, Stormy. But yeah, Gem is a fantastic show. Every single episode is fun to watch. There are some zany ones where the president gets kidnapped.
Oh my god, I rewatched that one for this.
But it's just so much fun, and the animation continuously improves as it goes on, so it gets even more and more beautiful.
I also rewatched Out of the Past, which is the episode about Jerrica Benton and Kimber's mother, Jackie Benton. And it's a really moving episode. She has passed away before the show starts. And it's their quest to basically find her last recordings.
Yes.
And it's I really wish that the Gem movie had used that as a plot.
I do feel like they might have if they had a sequel, because I mean there was that one moment in the Gem movie that hinted that there was more to the tiny robot Synergy than we knew. Because there was an actual voice behind Synergy in one scene in the movie when they first boot up Synergy.
Oh, okay.
There was just that robotic voice for a moment, and it kind of hinted that there was more behind the tiny Wall-E-esque Synergy than meets the eye.
Okay.
But I guess we won't know.
Oh, that poor Gem movie.
Yeah.
It just bombed.
Yeah.
Stormy, what thoughts do you have about Gem?
Unfortunately, hardly any. I didn't watch it. This is another one that passed me by. I did watch the live action movie, and I kind of liked it.
Okay.
I liked it too, Stormy. It's okay.
Oh, good.
I think we're like the three people in existence who probably liked that movie.
Well, maybe I only liked it because I didn't see the actual show. But I thought, this is a fine movie. But I liked something else that Christy Marks did. It turns out she also worked with, I think, Sierra Online, which made video games that I liked. So she made Conquests of Camelot and Conquests of the Longbow, which were 2 video games that I played maybe about the time that you guys were watching Gem.
Oh.
So Christy Marks seems to have been everywhere. I thought her name was familiar when you said it, so I quick Googled, and yep.
Oh.
Conquest, there's a Robin Hood game and a King Arthur game back in the days of Pixels that Christy Marks worked on.
Those look really fun, and I should check those out, because I love old Sierra games.
I bet they're on GOG. If they're not on GOG, I'm sure there are Let's Plays. I know there are Let's Plays.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Christy Marks is one of those people who, every time I see her name pop up, I'm like, this will probably be good.
Yes, definitely.
She wrote a reboot of Amethyst Princess of Gem World a few years ago that is quite good and unfortunately cut short.
Yes. In terms of the Gem movie as well, I wanted to add, I think they made one fatal mistake in their editing, because in the DVD of it, there's a deleted scene where they're trying to escape from Starlight Music, Rio and Jericho. Because they've snuck in to get her earrings back. And in the deleted scene, they actually parachute down from the highest floor. And I'm like, that is so Gem. Why did you cut this scene?
Why would they cut that? It's great.
I know.
That's very Gem.
There's only one way to get out. We have to parachute off of this building. And it would have probably been a music video.
Exactly. It would have been like, You Ought to See the View from Here by the Misfits, when they're paragliding through the city of Los Angeles, somehow miraculously avoiding every skyscraper.
Yes.
And like, I think Pizzazz also like has a laser that Tech Rat made in that episode, and he uses it. Oh no, sorry, Pizzazz uses it because he gave it to her for some reason, and she like gives a Gem billboard a mustache.
Oh my gosh.
With the laser.
Pizzazz is great in the long tradition of petty 80s villainesses.
Yes, she's so good.
I love her. Although I have to say my favorite misfit is Stormer.
I think Stormer's a fan favorite for a lot of people.
I think so too. She's a lot of fun. She's voiced by Susan Blue, who we will come back to when we talk about Wildfire. So, Alex, why do you think Jewel Riders fans would enjoy Gem and the Holograms?
I think it still has that element of magic, albeit it's a smaller portion of it, because she's only able to create holograms, but she is able to do some pretty fantastical things with it. So I do think that Jewel Riders fans would probably enjoy the magical portions of it, and it is very centered around friendship again, because all of Gem and her sisters, Aja, Shayna, Kimber, and everybody, and later on Rhea, I think the relationship between these characters. They clearly love each other and are there for each other, and I think that will resonate with Jewel Riders fans a lot.
I completely agree. And I also want to add, if you like pink-haired singers, here, and like Tamara, here is another great one you can enjoy. Moving on to 1986. Stormy, you've been actually after me to watch this show for years. This is Wildfire, created by Hanna-Barbera. It's a one season of 13 episodes that follows the adventures of the lost princess Sarah as she and her magical horse Wildfire keep the world of Darshan safe from the evil lady Diabolin. Which is
names.
Let me just tell you how much I love Diabolin as a name. So, I watched the first 3 episodes for this podcast, and I definitely want to watch more. Sadly, only not very good quality YouTube copies are available for this show. So, somebody, Warner Archive, if you're listening to this podcast, you release a lot of old Hanna-Barbera stuff. Please release this also. Stormy, what is the draw for you in this show? Why do you enjoy it?
Well, even partly because it's so secret. I mean, who has heard of this show? It's a magical horse show, and there's not really any fan sites, and there's just nothing about it, and it's actually a really good show. It's, the writing is kind of obvious.
Yes.
The villains are kind of obvious. The villain has bumbling minions, and, Wildfire is big manly stallion and saves the day and saves Sarah and kind of speaks in a big booming voice.
Yes.
And it's just good. I think it's maybe the hints for Sarah's backstory or future story, because Sarah is the princess of this land and was banished by a curse from Lady Diabolin. So she lives on Earth with her adoptive father, and then Wildfire comes to get her, and she goes to Darshan to solve the problems of the people. Like horses are going missing, or fairies are something, or the whatever has come to town, and Princess Sarah will come and she will fix everything.
Yes.
Because she's like 10 years old and has a magic locket and a very magical horse.
And a sweet Western getup.
Yes. I should say this because we're going to talk about Lady Lovelylocks, but Sarah wears like jeans and a cowboy hat, and it's very cute. And you really wish that there were more of it, because just watching the 13 episodes, you start to kind of see, boy, if there was another season and you got to watch Sarah kind of grow into being the future queen, it sort of stops before you really get to where she transforms into Princess Serenity, if this were Sailor Moon. You can see that sort of thing is coming up, and it never really gets there.
Okay.
So you want more.
One thing I wanted to mention about this show was that I was looking at the credits for it, and I saw that Peter Beagle was a consultant on this show. Peter Beagle, most well known as the author of The Last Unicorn.
Yes.
And the screenwriter for the movie of the same name. And I was like, what a perfect person for a magical horse show to be a consultant on. Some of the episodes were also written by Linda Wolverton, who was the screenwriter for Disney's Beauty and the Beast. She wrote the 3rd episode, I know, that has like a marriage between a guy who gets turned into an ogre, and I was like, how very Beauty and the Beast. This feels almost prescient.
You need to watch episode 12, Chris. There's a great revelation. It's a good episode. You need to watch that one.
Okay. I intend to try and keep watching the rest of the show, through the sadness of the YouTube copies that are available.
Yes, I should tell this story. Back when trading fan subs on VHS was a thing, I traded for VHS tapes of Wildfire, and I'm pretty sure that the ones I got are the same master copy as those YouTube videos, which is very sad because it suggests that there may not be any better quality in circulation. And it does the bad quality does make it hard to appreciate the great cuteness of this show, and it's just a shame.
Well, I mean, they have these great 80s Hanna-Barbera designs. Like the young boy who's the friend of Sarah, Doran, looks like a white-haired Johnny Quest. I think the little horse, oh my gosh, what is its name? Brutus, yes. Brutus that he hangs out with is so cute. And this is where I'm going to mention Susan Blue, because Susan Blue, the voice of Stormer in Gem, does the voice of Brutus. Which made me laugh. I was like, oh my goodness, how cute is that? Like I said, I loved Diabolin. She looks like the evil queen from Snow White.
She does.
She's got this total same facial features and sneer and eyebrows. It's great. The other thing I thought of was that this show reminded me a great deal of the Unicorns of Balinor series.
Oh yes, it is.
Where you've got princess sent to another world and she has to come back to her fantasy world and save it with the help of her magical horse, and I was like, I think that is I think if Jewel Riders fans liked Unicorns of Balinor, I think this is a great thing to follow up with. Alex, how did you feel about this show?
I mean, from what I could tell, I really liked it. I just wish the masters that were available somewhere in the archive would be released, because I'd like to be able to appreciate it in a higher quality. But I will say one thing that it reminded me of is Sarah kind of reminds me of Molly from the My Little Pony movie.
You're right. You're right. That same little Western girl design.
Yeah, the two pigtails. It's really cute. And
it is super cute.
I like that it was kind of almost like a Western themed magical girl story. I think that's really interesting and unique, because I don't think I can think of any others that are like that.
No, it does feel very unique. You're absolutely right. Stormy, bring us home on this one. Why should Jewel Riders fans watch Wildfire?
Because it's about princess and a magic kingdom and a magical horse. And many magical horses, in fact.
Okay.
I also have to say, anybody listening to this podcast, even if you don't watch Wildfire, watch the opening song. The opening song is truly epic. It shows the whole backstory for the series, and it's just a wonderful opening.
I really liked it too. I will second that opinion.
It's a beautiful song, and it has beautiful, because it shows the whole history of Sarah being sent from Darshan to Earth in the one song.
Yeah. It's a really good little piece of storytelling to start each episode.
Oh.
And a really cute song, too, to top it all off.
So that is why Wildfire is really good, and you all should watch it.
Right. We're going to move into our final show for this episode. This is one that Alex was after me to watch. This is the 1986 show from American Greetings / Those Characters from Cleveland, Lady Lovely Locks. Those Characters from Cleveland is a company that created shows and properties such as Care Bears and Strawberry Shortcake as well, with dolls by Mattel. And the show follows Lady Lovely Locks, the titular character, as she keeps the kingdom of Lovely Locks safe with the help of her friends the Pixie Tales from the wicked Duchess Ravenwaves of Tangleland.
Who is the best character?
Yes,
we can all agree on that.
We can all agree that Ravenwaves is fantastic.
A lot of villain love going on in this podcast.
Yes. Have to say, another show with music by Haim Saban and Shuki Levy. and another fantastic opening song.
Yes, it is.
You can find the full version of it on YouTube, and it is really cute.
Is there an opening? I must have watched it without the opening somehow.
Oh, yeah, I think a lot of the YouTube copies don't have the opening song on them. But yeah, Alex, tell us why you like this show so much.
Well, it pretty much just all revolves around Duchess Ravenwaves, if we're honest. I mean, I remember distinctly how much I loved her when I believe there was one episode where Lady Lovelylocks goes into the looking room and she has to go through all of these passageways and up this random elevator that's somehow in her castle and like do all this stuff and activate her magic hair. And then she's like able to see what's going on in the kingdom. And then it like cuts to Ravenwaves and Ravenwaves is just looking over at her through her telescope. And I don't think it was meant to be a comedic thing, but it was just funny how like you cut to Ravenwaves and she's just kind of petty and she's like looking over in her telescope like, Lady Lovelylocks, what are you doing?
I like that she's the Duchess of this whole land, but she has nothing better to do than spy on Lady Lovelylocks. She's such a petty character, and the way they always end an episode is that she sort of like walks away from whatever horrible thing she tried to do that week and nobody really tries to stop her. I love it. It's like even the last episode where she's literally held people hostage in the castle. They just let her walk out the front door.
I mean, I do remember there was also a moment where basically like I believe she had a pair of scissors and they just took her scissors away and then she just kind of stood there awkwardly, like not sure what to do because she couldn't like cut Lady's hair.
Well, yeah, we should add that Duchess Ravenwave's whole shtick is that she wants to cut Lady Lovelylocks' magic hair. And I don't know how she would use the magic in it if it's not attached to Lady Lovelylocks. Is she gonna like braid it into her own hair or
magical extensions? Oh boy.
It's interesting too because the only conceivable reason I would think of to have the magic hair is to summon the pixie tails or to use the looking room, but the looking room isn't in her kingdom and she doesn't need pixie tails. She's got the comb gnomes.
Yes, the comb gnomes. Such a great name. The whole time I watched this show, like my writer brain was trying to make sense of the world and how it is structured and how the magic system works, and I was like, I have to stop because I don't think it will ever make sense completely. Like, it's like, but wait, if Ravenwaves has comb gnomes, are they like pixie tails or are they different? Can they do magic? It's like, could she use the pixie tails at all?
Maybe they're like evil pixie tails who have fallen from grace and lost their powers.
And they randomly got a lot bigger for some reason.
Yeah. Triple the size. I mean, they're short episodes, right? They're like
10 minutes or 15.
10 or 15-minute episodes. There's only like 22 of them, I want to say. And the last few tell like a more sequential story about a dragon who has children through a dragon tree, which don't ask me how that works. But I think the show was so cute, except for the random. I watched some version that had like a random live action actress dressed up as
the one I watched. She turns up
Lady Lovelylocks.
The PSA.
And I was like, oh, she's like kind of old to be Lady Lovelylocks.
I don't think my version has that. I have the German DVDs of it.
Oh.
But I mean, they have the English dub still on it.
Oh, that's really nice. Yeah, this is another one that's never had a US release, which is very sad. Because I think, I think if you can release My Little Pony and Rainbow Brite, I think this is totally in that same vein. It's like cute and pastel, and the villains aren't super threatening. But Stormy, tell me what you thought about it.
Well, some of these other shows I've been saying were really good, but Locks, I'm not sure that. Well, it was very, very PSA. It was very this week's PSA.
Yes, they tell you the PSA in the opening narration.
Yes.
For every episode.
There wasn't a lot of depth to the series itself, but, like we were talking about what are the pixie tales and how does hair magic work, there's a lot of room for expansion. If you have a writer brain, you could go a lot of places starting from this kind of mediocre cartoon about girls in ball gowns.
Yes, I know you mentioned to me earlier that you had a good chuckle that wherever they go, no matter what they do, they're wearing ball gowns.
They are. They should be like Sarah from Wildfire and put on pants if you're going to go on an adventure.
I laugh because there's the episode where they go to the snow and they're still wearing ball gowns and just long coats with fur trim on them. I was like, wait a minute. I don't think you're properly attired to go to a snowy mountain.
So I didn't watch all the episodes. Do they eventually get to the Mermaid Lagoon and meet the mermaid doll? Because I know there's a mermaid doll.
I don't think they did in the show.
I don't think they do in the show, yeah.
That's interesting. Maybe there are books with her in it.
There are.
No, there was a show until recently. I just knew that they were dolls, and I really like the dolls because they're beautiful.
Yeah, the dolls are super cute. I'm definitely on the lookout for a nice Raven Waves doll.
Why? I have her.
Maybe I'll get her, if I ever get her, I'll get her a pair of scissors.
I had the Raven Waves doll when I was like 8 or whatever. I had to go to the dentist, and my mother bribed me to go to the dentist with a doll, and I picked Raven Waves because her dress is jewel tones, and all the other girls are all pastels, and the purple and green teal and the dark hair, she is the prettiest doll. And I still have her somewhere, but I'm not sure where. I found her dress, but I couldn't find her.
Oh no. Alex, do you have any of the toys from this?
No, I don't, unfortunately, but I do think they're really cute. The only one I think is a little bit questionable is Silky Pup.
Silky Pup is very funny looking.
Yes.
I got him at a thrift store.
Silky Pup reminds me a little bit of things like Pound Puppies and things like that.
But I mean, yeah, I think that the toys themselves are really, really cute, and eventually I'll probably try and get some as well.
Yeah, after I watched the entire thing, I had owned a Prince Strongheart doll before, but afterward I did make sure to track down all of the storybooks. And they have gorgeous art.
Yes, the art is so pretty.
Yeah, and it's like, Alex, you were telling me once before how when you look in their hair, you can see like almost little ghosts of the pixie tails in the curls.
Yeah, like they're kind of just hidden all around the world and in the hair of everything, and it's really cool. Like it's like a nice little touch. You like look in the background and in the trees and in the hair of everything, and there's little pixie tails everywhere.
It's like, and once you told me that, it's like, I don't know, I had totally not seen it before, and then I was like, it's like my eyes were open.
I mean, they are pretty well hidden, but they're there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they are fabulous. There used to be a site called LadyLovelylocks.org, which I don't think is still running.
Yes, I was on the forums there for a while.
It says it's down for maintenance, which makes me sad. But if you go to the Internet Archive, you can still look at some of their stuff.
They have like stuff uploaded, yeah.
Yeah, including transcripts of like German audio plays and all sorts of things.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I was like, I definitely wanted to explore that more. But I know it's like, I know, Alex, at one point you had talked about perhaps doing something inspired by hair magic and that kind of stuff.
Maybe eventually I would like to.
I would love to see that whenever you finish.
So would I.
Please redeem the world of Lovely Locks.
Yeah.
There's so much there that could be done.
Yeah. I tend to very often like things that, even if they're not quite up to snuff, they have potential. And the world of Lady Lovely Locks is something with so much potential to me.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, you could go so many cool places with this.
I agree. That being said, even the show as it is now, I think is worth watching just to see what Raven Waves does. But
exactly.
That's almost the only reason, because Raven Waves is the best.
She's, and I think it's because she has a very distinct and fun personality in a world where Lady herself and Fair Hair and Curly Crown are all sort of the same and nothing too different about them.
They're quite prim and proper.
Yes. It's like, I was sort of surprised when Fair Hair and Curly Crown don't really go on many of the adventures.
No.
I was like, they mostly just sort of stay in the castle, like, okay, we'll make some food or worry about you as you ride off on your horse to solve.
I wonder how big the budget for this animation was, because if they were cutting corners, maybe that would explain many things.
Maybe.
I think it was a co-production between like Deke and another company. I do have to say it's kind of weird, some of the animation stuff that happens if they didn't have much of a budget, because there are times where designs will completely change. So it's like they did the work twice. Like, I believe the castle looks a little bit different a couple of times.
I was always so confused by the castle. Like, is it raised up on a mound of hair?
Yes, it is. But that's only sometimes, and other times it looks completely different.
Yes.
Really, I need to watch this on a bigger screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I definitely think for Jewel Riders fans, the world is the thing that if you like the fantasy world of Jewel Riders, I think you could definitely enjoy this one. There's a lot of fantasy elements here, like dragons and spells and wizards and stuff like that.
And cute animals.
And lots of cute animals.
So Pixie Tales and the Gliders.
Yes. I didn't make that connection.
Neither did I until just this moment. But they're kind of similar.
So Alex, give us your thoughts on why Jewel Riders fans would like Lady Lovely Locks.
I feel like it has a bit of the cute Arthurian take in its world. It does have a little bit of that in it. It has the cute animals. And the dragons in particular, they're quite almost comedic in their way that they're written. So
yes.
I feel like that lighthearted take on fantasy creatures and animals, Jewel Riders fans might enjoy that a lot.
Definitely. I have to second that. I forgot to say on the dragons, there's one that is a very similar shade of green with a yellow curl in its hair as Sugar from Jewel Riders, which made me smile every time I saw it.
Definitely.
Okay, well, I think that is all for our Magical Girls from the 80s shows. So that was super fun to chit-chat a little bit about some of these shows. And I'm so glad you guys kind of twisted my arms to watch Wildfire and Lady Lovely Locks and that I finally did it. And I will have to watch that My Little Pony movie when that comes in the mail.
Yes, it's very good.
Must.
Before we do our next episode. Because I was pleasantly surprised by Rescue at Midnight Castle, so I think I'm ready for the next thing for My Little Pony. Well, we cannot thank Stormy and Alex enough for coming on the show. If you want to find more from Stormy, you can find her current writing works on fanfiction.net under Cupcake Doll, I believe, writing lots of Fallout fanfiction. And if you want to find some of her vintage fanfiction, you can find that on the Jewel Writers Archive, including her Trina story, an epic novel-length fanfiction from back in the day. And if you want to find more from Alex, including really cool dress-up games and small visual novels, you can find him at paperdollprince.itch.io. I love your Star Prince dress-up game.
Thank you.
And as we always like to say at the end of our podcast, friends together, friends forever. Thank you guys so much for being here, and everybody please look forward to part 2 where we discuss things from the 90s and beyond. All right, bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.